Hi, I'm your pathological fear of mozzarella cheese that prevents you from going to Olive Garden, Yvonne DeCulo.
And I'm that one gray hair that you just can't get rid of no matter how many times you pluck, Glumm.
One. And welcome to the Victory Lap, where we will be discussing the most recent episode of All Stars Season 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race. But I can't tell if I shaved everything. So this is one of my favorite challenges ever, Snatch Game. Man, I'm disappointed.
It was a bad snatch. It was a bad snatch.
It was not a clean snatch.
It was a dirty, dirty snatch.
Okay, listen, I didn't think that it could get worse in Season 9. And like, Turd City.
That's being kind.
So, Dela is just destroying this entire competition.
She's eating this competition for breakfast and crapping it out on her opponents.
And it's just so unfortunate that no one is keeping up. Why y'all acting new? Who's after Peppermint? Why didn't any of them do their homework and have like 7 characters prepared and have the funniest little nuggets?
Why did no one pick an interesting character?
I mean, going back to Kennedy, I just don't understand what that character was like. I got the references she was doing, but if she was gonna be like, oh, she's a freak, she should have like gone full Jinx Monsoon fantasy and been like, oh, see. And I think it could have potentially been really funny. But I feel like she was just holding back the whole time.
Like, when she's good, she's good. When she's not, she's not.
Yeah, it's hits or misses.
But you know what? She's Kennedy, and that is what it is. What it is.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, it was bad, but I wasn't like, oh, Kennedy.
I was cringing
like,
at Trixie.
Oh.
RuPaul could have been interesting. As we saw with Jessica Wilde, though, if you pick RuPaul, you're picking some type of caricature. And there's only so much you can do with that caricature. Her interruptions just felt unnecessary. Like, they weren't like what Bianca's done in her Snatch Game, where she interrupted people and it was hilarious. It was like, these interruptions were so like...
Well, and also if you're gonna interrupt, you have to be like Bianca, where it's a brash. No, that's not it! You know, it's gotta be...
Or like with
boom.
Katya and Miss Fame. That win was a bad investment.
Well, the problem was Ru wouldn't do that, so it was trying to honor that side of Ru. But it's like, if you're gonna make those interjections, you have to have that space for it, not ba 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 ba. You know, you have to have that moment that you can slide in. You have to be so on top of it that there's a lull and you jump on it.
Yeah.
That's what it needs to be, not just, I thought of this joke, I'm just gonna start saying it and hope it lands. Which is kind of what she was doing. The other thing was she didn't do enough of the, and she didn't do any of the laughing.
She had Michelle Visage right there. She could have called her a whore. She could have made age jokes. She could have made jokes about how dumb Michelle is.
It wasn't present. Her RuPaul was not present in the moment. And that's where I think it really fell apart for her.
With Chi-Chi, she was basically just doing her Eartha Kitt.
She was doing her Eartha Kitt in a turban. The only thing she might have been successful at would have been picking a very like down south sort of.
I think she has the right type of voice. I mean, the accent would kind of hurt her a little bit, but I think she's got the right type of attitude for Angela Bassett.
I was actually gonna say, going with the Creole sort of thing, she should have been Marie Laveau from American Horror Story.
That would have been sickening.
With the braids and the box braids, just putting hexes on the rest of the competition.
Would have been sickening. Dela did the best, like, she was so good, regardless of if she had been in Season 2 of Snatch Game, if she had been in any other Snatch Game, she would have been successful because she did her homework, her jokes were funny, her attitude was there.
And she had the characterization. She had the voice,
characterization.
She had the look. It literally, it wasn't just a matter of, you know, she was the best of the bunch. She was just literally the best. And
I feel like what she did, it didn't matter if you didn't know who that character was.
It was funny.
It was funny enough that you bought it.
In comparison, I thought Shangela was best of the bunch. If you take Dela out and you just put Shangela against everyone else, I think she was best of the bunch, not best of the game.
Yes. I thought Shangela was safe funny. Like, I thought it was very on par with her Tina Turner, where it was like, it was cute, it was funny, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, that was the funniest song I've ever heard in my life.
To me, it was very on par with all of her other tough, no-nonsense female characters that she does.
Except Laquifa
too.
is hilarious, so I think it's very different from Laquifa.
But it's that same persona.
Sure.
It's the Shanji persona, maybe pulling a fact or two from the character she's playing, but it's still that same, like...
My honest to goodness winner, if it wasn't going to be Shangela and Ben, it would be Ben and Kristen Chenoweth. Honestly.
You know what? Forget everything else I said. Kristen Chenoweth was the only good queen. She was the only good queen on that.
Next to Bendela. My favorite thing that Bendela said all night was when Kristen Chenoweth was like, I've just been waiting for one of these queens to do me. And Bendela's like, none of these queens are going to do you. That was our coworker Michael that I just did.
It was a cross between Michael and Joan Rivers.
Why has nobody done Joan Rivers? Why has nobody done her?
Why would nobody do? I don't know.
Because they know that they would get eaten alive by Sharon Needles. BeBe just skated her way right through this challenge. I don't know if y'all have heard this theory that BeBe's a mole, that she's not actually a true contestant, that she's like a plant. She just was like having fun, and she was just sitting back like laughing at everybody's jokes. She was hardly in character, and it's interesting that she didn't get red for that. But again, she's a mole planted by the producer, so I'm not surprised.
They were literally cutting to her just kind of like clapping and like...
BeBe gave me life only because she was so not in character at all.
She had the look, not the character. She did herself. I did actually want to give a shout out to my homegirl who, if anything ever happens to Bendela, is my only redemption, and that's Aja, because...
She did a spectacular job.
Her Crystal Libasia was fantastic. She embodied it, she looked like the queen, it was there, and she was so committed to it too, and...
She had the attitude.
What did she do for her
It was
Snatch
like
game?
Stacey's Monique. For her Snatch game, she did Alyssa Edwards.
That's right, and she sucked.
We don't know that she sucked. They only showed us one answer.
That does not bode well for Aja. It was such a marked improvement and redemption from her Snatch game. That should have earned her a spot in the top.
Moving on to the runway, which I think was the deciding factor in everything. This was also a very, compared to last week too, was a very lackluster runway, and I almost wonder if they were like, this isn't gonna be a runway. Flower power? I don't need a flower dress. Dela's was cute. I don't think it was the most groundbreaking dress I've ever seen. I enjoyed Shangela's because it was a nod to Beyonce. I mean, it was 100% Beyonce. It wasn't a nod, it was Beyonce. Wasn't that the look that she did when she did her baby reveal?
It was basically, yeah, it was her goddess, baby, pregnant, maternity thing.
And like, I appreciated it for the pop culture reference. Right?
Aja's was just really cute, and it was flowers, and it was original. I would give the top mark to the queen who created a new character that I haven't seen from her, and who did an original runway and a colorful runway versus the queen who literally took Beyonce's maternity photos, stuck some flowers on, and called it a day.
Sure.
Shanji's thing didn't even make sense for the runway. It was literally just Beyonce's maternity photo with flowers. That whole photo shoot had nothing to do with flowers or flower power. It had everything to do with celebrating femininity and womanhood and being, it was Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, you know, all those old, you know, fertility goddess statues sort of thing. That's what Beyonce was celebrating there. That's what that look is a reference to. And Shanji took that and stuck flowers to it.
For me, it was like her corn runway.
Yes!
It was like, this has nothing to do with the challenge, but I love it.
I think she's a very hardworking queen. I think she's a very talented, very beautiful queen. I think she's got
all these things.
it. She does, full on. However, I feel like Shangela as a queen is one note. It's a great note. It's like Chenoweth's high C. It's a fantastic note. Pull it out at parties. Hit that note, make everybody clap for you.
But you want to reward improvement.
I want to see improvement, and I want to see a versatility.
And that's what Aja's giving you.
That's what Aja gave me. That's what other queens give me. Shangela gives me overall improvements, but it's still the same Shanji package with fancier bows and wrapping paper.
See, but if we're gonna talk about how Shangela took somebody else's concept and made it her own, Trixie basically did that with Kesha. Her look to me was so Kesha.
But Kesha is very much, as an artist,
a flower
especially
power
right now,
person.
She's very much embracing that flower power 70s throwback thing.
That Trixie's definitely doing too.
It referentially makes sense.
Sure.
Versus fertility goddess, tack on some flowers.
Yeah.
Speaking of tacking on some flowers, let's just talk about Miss Kennedy's look, because
I
this
really
was
liked
divisive.
that look.
I thought it looked exactly like the judges said. It was very arts and crafts. It was very, to me, 99-cent store challenge. I have a gown. I have a gown, and it needs to have flowers on it. Here's some 99-cent store flowers, and I'm gonna stick them on, glue some to my face, up into my weave, and then, oh shoot, the dress isn't long enough. Quick, rip the leaves off, and let's fill out the bottom. I'm sorry, but it was.
I liked it, but nobody else in that runway embraced floral like Kennedy did. She took it
to a
too literally.
She took it.
She didn't take enough creative liberties.
Her dress lacked finesse.
And I love sunflowers. I think they're pretty.
Sunflowers are nice. I think that's also a little safey McSaferson.
If that had been roses, it'd been even more cliche.
Yes, it would have been cliche. Pick a offbeat flower. Pick a lot of flowers.
A lily.
Pick a mountain of flowers. A lily of a tulip with tulips. I personally would have done poppies, red poppies.
Of course you would have.
And I would have had a Wizard of Oz fantasy moment. I would have done one of the poppy girls from The Wiz.
Oh, that would have been fun.
The prostitute poppy girls, but then I would have done a big poppy head thing.
I would have done one of those nasty, gross rose witches from Dishonored. And I would have had just the blood and the rose thorns sticking out of my face and vines everywhere. I would have just done a gross look. Because I think that look is so fun.
Big mood. Lilies, like a lily pond, but they're all on top and then you're the bog monster coming out.
That would actually
You're
be
the
really
frog
cool.
monster.
You just kind of slunk out on stage and it's the lily pad and then you pull up and you're
So,
dripping gross stuff everywhere.
I see it like a big lily pad fascinator piece.
Yeah.
Lilies everywhere, but then a long draped viney thing. And then you
that's the
part
wig.
it. And you're
the
like
monster.
a frickin' frog bog monster.
That would have been sickening. One of my bottom outfits was honestly BeBe's because I felt like the color scheme
What is a bottom
did
outfit?
not make, I thought that the color palette didn't work with the flowers that were on it. And it just looked like tulle from far away. And maybe up close it looked different, but I mean, it didn't look like flowers, and I wish the colors had been different.
On the TV screen, because it was the brown sheer with the brown flowers.
From All Stars 1.
I think it really needed to be a cream dress or a white dress with those dark flowers on it, because a dark flower is an interesting idea. It was too many dark colors on dark colors to really make any of it pop. It was a beautiful dress. I loved the idea. I loved the style of it. It looked very luxe. I just needed a little more dimension in those flowers for them to really stand out on television. I'm sure, like you said, I'm sure it was a beautiful dress in person because the judges were gaga over it.
But it just didn't work on TV.
On TV, it didn't have enough facets.
My favorite shady moment of the whole night was that Shangela and Bendela didn't need any critiques. It was like, the two of you are the winners. Just go to the back and we're going to tell everybody else how much they suck.
They are.
Bendela and Shangela lip sync, and shock, they both got to eliminate somebody, which had my heart sinking because after Trixie's whole thing backstage and on stage, I was just so worried for her and her placement, and with Shangela feeling the way that she was feeling about her, I was very confident that Ben was going to send home Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
She's been picking her for a while. She's been earmarking her as going home. But I was certain that Shangela was gonna send home Trixie, and I'm sure you all have seen the meme by now where it's like, the person I've chosen is from Milwaukee and did really badly in season 7 and went home in 6th place.
She has a TV show on YouTube
and that person's name is Chi-Chi DeVane.
Yeah.
And it was, we talked about this last night, that it's a very power play moment, that it was a very I'm in control here and I need you to know.
Right.
I have the lipstick tube and I can send you home if I wanted to.
It was solely for the purpose of Shangela reminding Trixie,
I'm the top.
Doing well. I could have sent you home. That's what it was. It was Shangela playing her Khaleesi game so she could phone in a friend. Despite doing well and being a forerunner in the series, I'm realizing she's the villain.
To me, she's almost like the Ursula type villain where it's like, you're not the good guy, but I don't want you to lose.
It's a lovable villain.
Really quick, before we finish, little fan theory that we've come up with, because there's a lot of speculation that BeBe is a plant and she's a mole and she's there to not really be a full contestant. Our little mini theory is that it's gonna get to the top 5, the 5th person's gonna go home, and RuPaul is gonna make an announcement.
My queens, I'm afraid I haven't been honest with you. And then it's gonna like dun, 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 cut to all the queens like, what's she talking about? And then Michelle's gonna be doing this face. And then BeBe's gonna be like, and then she's gonna walk down and she's gonna sit at that table and shout out Cameroon probably. BeBe Zahara Benet was not actually competing. She was a secret judge working on my behalf.
And what I think is going to happen at this point is that Ru is going to make some type of announcement that because BeBe's not an official contestant, she's been given the opportunity to choose anyone that has been eliminated from the competition to replace her in the top 4.
And then it'll be like BeBe like pursing her lips, looking at the girls, well, mother. And then it'll pan to the runway, the little opening, and then there's gonna be one of those handmaidens come out, all in the red, with their face covered by the nunnery habit thing, and then all the queens are gonna be like, what is going on? And it's gonna keep building, the music's gonna build, it's gonna be one last shot of one of the top 4 queens going, I'm gagged. And then the new queen will go to pull off the thing.
You wanna see my cuckoo again? And then everyone will be like, what? We just think that BeBe is gonna be replaced by somebody in the competition that BeBe gets to choose.
Because she's been watching them backstage. So
and there have been so many shots of BeBe when they've done like their backstage thing, and the girls are talking about stuff, and BeBe's just like,
oh, are you kidding? BeBe's sitting there like this.
with her little checkboard. Oh, I'm sorry.
She's taking notes, she hides them back in her boobie, and she's like...
Were you guys talking about forming alliances? Okay. Thank you!
Talking to the earpiece.
Yeah, Ru, they're forming alliances here.
I don't know, mother. I didn't come back from my vacation in Cameroon for this.
Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you all again next week with another episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. Let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments below, and we would love to see those. Thank you for watching. Bye!
Ooh.